GoPro what? Remember I told you something about GoPro? Well, it's all starting to come to fruition, just as I had unfortunately predicted. That's coming right up. Well, hey everybody, it is Tuesday, and thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about GoPro. The GoPro Hero 5, the GoPro Hero 6, the GoPro Karma, everything that's going on with GoPro. And if you've been watching the stocks lately, the stock so far right now currently is at $6.22, taking a nosedive. And there's a couple of interesting things that are happening. Number one, in this video, I talked about the only way for GoPro to recover is to bring down the price of the Hero 6 down into the $399 range. And that I knew that, you know, when you sell a action camera for $499, that's $500 plus tax if you're going to a retailer or whatever. But to me, that was a lot of money for an action camera. And I thought at that time, between the price of the GoPro Hero 6, the fact that they weren't using the Umbrella chipset anymore, they were doing it through another party. And by the way, Umbrella's doing very good. They're $62, $63 a share, so they're climbing right on up. And by the way, did you know that Umbrella, they signed a contract with Honda? That's right, Honda Motor Company, to do the chipset for their cameras on the Honda cars. Just a little interesting little tidbit. But back to GoPro. So I'd said that the GoPro Hero 6 was going to be overpriced and that the only way that they could viably continue to survive, and yes, 60 frames a second at 4K is fantastic, no doubt about it. But also now there's a lot of problems with the GoPro Hero 6. A lot of people reporting that they try to turn it off and it won't turn off. And they'll pull out the battery to make it turn off. And guess what happens? That video file did not get saved. Now I understand these are little firmware tweaks, but it just kind of adds a little bit more problems for GoPro. Then there's this big push right now to have Mr. Woodman resign, to step down from GoPro, because their investors are saying that in order for GoPro to survive and to get into the next generation of action cameras, virtual reality, 360, all of that, they need some new direction. And there's been a call for Woodman's resignation, for him to step down as CEO and leader of the company. Another interesting fact is, you know, they're cutting their workforce 20 to 30%, and they are getting out of the aerial business, the drone business. So the Karma will continue to sell until the current inventory levels have been depleted. We kind of knew that all along. I'd said last year that GoPro made a mistake trying to get into the drone market when the drone market's already pretty efficient right now with DJI. But I mean, I can understand, you know, they're trying to branch out. An action camera is an action camera. And now with the competition nipping at their heels at a furious pace now, GoPro is going to have to try to do something different. And unfortunately, the drones didn't work out for them. And it's unfortunate for a company because they try to get into the drone market to expand their income base. And, you know, the Karma sort of falling out of the sky. So they had to do a recall on it a month later. And it took a while. They got the battery issue figured out where the connection was actually being vibrated loose and there was no power and they'd fall out of the sky. But now there's another problem for GoPro. And that is the Rosen Law Firm announces an investigation of security claims against GoPro Incorporated. So now GoPro has to contend with that. Second off, and here's just a little tidbit from Finance Yahoo yesterday, that on January 8th, 2018, GoPro announced that it's reducing its global workforce by 20% and exiting the aerial market after selling its remaining camera inventory. So that is almost a way to kind of say, you know what? We give up. We messed up. We should never have gotten to the drone market. That was millions of dollars in research and development that was just wasted. And, you know, they don't have sensors on them, obstacle avoidance sensors. There's a lot of things. I mean, I understand the concept, and it was a really good idea to try to branch out and take the Hero 5. No, take the cap off. The Hero 5, they take the Hero 5 and to create a whole new platform to where it was modular, where that it would work with a 3-axis gimbal, the camera grip, where you could take the top of the gimbal part off the grip and plug it into the camera drone and fly that. Although the idea was very, very good to try to branch out like that, the execution was horrible. And unfortunately, it wasn't tested and tried and true. And between the problems with the camera drone, the camera grip that picks up all this motor noise, and it's just the configuration layout of the microphones that are on the Hero 5 and Hero 6. But that still hasn't been rectified. Now you look at their stocks plummeting. You got a call for Woodman to step aside, and you've got this class action lawsuit from a law firm, and now they're doing what I said. Remember I told you, I pointed at that little video card, that the only way that GoPro was going to compete, and even though their profit margin was now huge on the GoPro Hero 6 because they went to a smaller company to supply their chipset for them, that they were going to have to come down to $399. And guess what? The Hero 6 is now on sale for $399. Although it still has a lot of firmware problems, it has some issues. Like if you're trying to shoot at 240 frames a second, good luck if you have an older computer, because it won't play it. And the recording format of H.265 is not readily available on older computers. Now, if you have Windows 10, you're good. If you have a Mac computer that is a 216 or above, I believe, don't quote me on that, but I believe I read that it has to be a 2016 model or above, then you can play it. So, you know, it has all these great features, but it's not really usable yet unless you want to sink out some money for a brand new computer and update that to be able to use some of these features. So I think they had shot themselves in the foot. I don't sit here gleefully where I'm smiling with pride, is where I could say, I told you so, GoPro. But I did. I said that there was a couple of things that they have done which were anti-intuitive of creating a long-lasting business. The first thing that they did is with the GoPro Hero 5, when they changed the firmware to knock out Wasabi batteries. You remember that? So third-party market batteries were not going to be usable in the GoPro Hero 5. I've had some people make comments saying, well, you know, it's not a quality battery and GoPro's trying to protect their thing. Okay, I got that. But then again, I also have the fact that GoPro no longer owns this camera. I do. I paid for it. So I should be able to put any third-party thing I want to on this camera. If I stick a third-party battery into it and it doesn't work, guess who that's on? It's on this guy. It's on me for doing it. So just some interesting tidbit news. I'll call it Tidbit Tuesday because I hate to say that I was right, but I could kind of tell what was going on. And, Business Economics 101 is a specialty of mine. But I saw the writing on the wall, and I think GoPro still has an opportunity to recover from this and to become a viable company 2018, 2019, 2020, and maybe even beyond that. But when you look at hypothetically, not hypothetically, factually, let's look at what their stock price was on October 7, 2014. $98.47. It's a far cry from the $6.22 that it is currently at the moment. So that's a huge plunge for all the investors that have invested in GoPro and expected and wanted more. And, Nick Woodman, if you happen to be watching, which, I doubt that he is, but if there's somebody from GoPro that is watching and they could forward this to Nick, Nick, I like your products. I like GoPro camera. I like the Hero 5. I will not invest in the Hero 6. Not even at $399, I won't invest in the Hero 6 because it has too many problems right now. And I think those problems need to be sorted out regarding firmware issues. And who knows, maybe once that's all sorted out, it'll be a fantastic camera. But the way I look at it is the Hero 5 is good enough for me. Even though I had my biggest issue with the Hero 5 that I have is the waterproof situation where I took it into the swimming pool 2 feet underwater, chasing behind my daughter, and it got water in it and ruined the camera. And yes, there could be some user error involved, although I'm very meticulous with the products and the equipment that I own. I'm not a Casey Neistat. No offense to Casey. Casey's pretty hard on his equipment. I am on the other hand of the spectrum. I am very meticulous and I'm very careful with my equipment because I want it to last. I don't have the income and the resources just to buy 12 different Canon 60D cameras and this and that. I can't just do that. But parting note, I hope the GoPro survives, but Nick, I told you so. I told the consumers, I told you guys that are watching so. I hope that they can turn it around somehow. I think getting out of the drone market is a plus for them because unfortunately they're never going to recoup any of that money. I wouldn't be surprised if the Karma drone goes on sale for, this is not a prediction, it's just an estimate, but I would say I wouldn't be surprised if I seen it go on sale for $6.99 to $7.99 just so that they could get rid of the inventory, recoup a little bit of money, and try to focus back on to cameras, action cameras, and maybe the 360. I know their new 360. It looks good, and I would like to get into 360. I've reached out to SJ Cam about their 360 camera because I'd like to give it a whirl because I think that there's going to be a calling for 360 cameras. But the niche has not been quite found yet. And, you've got problems with stitching software, which I'm sure that's going to evolve and get better and better and better. But 360, I think that there's a future for that. GoPro, regarding if they're going to stick to an action camera, that's all that they're going to do, they're going to have a lot of competitors nipping at their heels, especially since Umbrella is now offering their chipset to all the competition. You look at all these action camera companies that are now using the A12S Umbrella processing chip, and you'll see that, wow, 4K, native 4K is not that elusive anymore when it comes to an action camera, and it's not that exclusive anymore. So there's a lot of people coming out with it. There's a lot of people coming out. I've got an action camera coming here very soon from TI. that shoots native 4K, and it's got electronic image stabilization at 30 frames a second. Now, this is from a company that is a direct competitor to GoPro. So, you know, you got the SJ8 from SJ Cam that's coming out, or should be out already, but it does 60 frames per second. It's 4K. You've got all these other companies that I think 2018 is going to be a great year for you and I, the consumer. You and I, the consumer, we're going to have a plethora of choices to be able to choose from when it comes to action cameras and the quality and the image and all the extra little doodads that they're going to be able to add, from voice control to electronic image stabilization, that is a good electronic image stabilization. Not just where it's a little bit wonky or jerky, because that was another thing with the Hero 6. It offers electronic image stabilization at 40 frames a second, or excuse me, at 30 frames a second, 4K, but it was jerky and a little wonky. And that's what I found with my, with my Yi 4K Plus, that yes, it has EIS at 4K 30 frames a second, but it would be jerky. If you did a movement, then all of a sudden the picture would be smooth, and then it would jerk, and then it would jerk. And so that's not smooth. So, you know, GoPro, I hope you survive. Right now, the writing on the wall says that there's going to either be a big, huge revamp of the company from the top down, where Nick Woodman may have to step aside, and there may be someone else in charge of GoPro, to where they look at their lineup and what does the consumer want. And I will say, first and foremost, and this goes for any company that's watching, I don't care what company that you are, but especially for GoPro, customer service. Customer service department, if you're going to invest any money into any part of your company, let's start off with customer service department. Because the customer service that I received when I was dealing with my GoPro Hero 5 in the water issue sucked. They could care less. Blame me right off the bat that it was my fault. Couldn't be the camera, because, you know, the camera, it's a GoPro. Can't be the camera. It's got to be you. Best Buy, thank you, Best Buy, for taking care of that issue. But anyway, a little Tidbit Tuesday. GoPro, what's going on? Tell me in the comment section below your thoughts about GoPro, the whole stock, the GoPro Hero 6. If you own one, tell me, how do you like it? Because I don't own one, so I can't give you firsthand knowledge or firsthand depiction of how good or bad the camera is. But I've only looked at some YouTube videos, and there's a lot of complaints about the GoPro Hero 6. But anyway, if you're a GoPro Hero 6 owner, comment below. Tell me what you think. If you're a owner of one of the competitors' cameras, SJ Cam, Thei, Firefly, Ekin, whatever, comment below, because I respond to all comments. So I hope you guys have a great day. Got some cool stuff coming, but then again, you know, I always say I've got cool stuff coming, and it's just a matter of me having time to kind of get to these reviews on a lot of these products. But I do have a cool little product. I will divulge very soon this camera that I'm using, and let you know why I seem to like it. I'm falling a little bit more and more in love with it, especially how compact it is. But I'll divulge this camera really, really soon. Until then, take care of one another, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and be sure to share it. And also, if you have a question, comment below, because I respond to all comments. And if you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe today and click on the bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video.